Oh, the Christians, they're the ones that are right about everything and everybody else is wrong. When you ask the question, is Jesus the only way to heaven? It's not hard to understand why that would get a negative emotional reaction. It sounds super narrow and arrogant. But does it deserve that negative reaction? And is that belief, grounds for dismissing the Christian faith altogether? Well, to address that problem, I want to pose 3 questions about the question, is Jesus the only way to heaven, that you can kind of look at through a lens to kind of help you determine some answers. And the first one is, what did Jesus claim? See, we have very good reasons to believe that the New Testament is giving us, what Jesus did and what he said, and it's giving it to us accurately. There's a lot of evidence behind that. And I think it's important to point that out, because anytime you're going to assess anybody's claims, any religious leader, any non-religious leader, you want to take things at their face value of what that religion actually believes. For instance, I did a lot of work in Muslim country for many years, and I wanted to learn what Islam was all about. And so I listened to Muslims and what they did believe. I remember reading this one book that sold the Muslim faith. It was trying to convince me to become a Muslim. I also read the Quran. And the reason is because I wanted to assess the belief based upon what they actually said. And you can do the same thing for non-religious beliefs. Like if you want to learn about Marxism, read the works of Karl Marx. What did he actually believe? What did he actually say? Now, when you do this with the Christian faith, you will discover that Jesus did claim to be the only way. Now, he said famously, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." Now, he also said, kind of less famously, "I am the door. If anyone enters through me, he will be saved." Now, not only that, we also have what he passed on to his immediate followers. They went throughout the ancient world with the belief that he was the only way, because that's kind of what drove them to reach people to try to convince them to believe in and follow Jesus. There's one passage that says this. One of his followers is speaking. He says, "For there is no other name under heaven that has been given among mankind by which we must be saved." That's what drove them to go out in the world. So yeah, it is an accurate thing to say that Jesus believed himself to be the only way. His immediate followers believed himself to be the only way. And so yeah, that's the Christian claim. Here's something to remember about that, is that Christians aren't being arrogant. They're simply being obedient. They're being obedient to what Jesus said about himself. They believe his claim and are following that. But here's something we need to note. Anybody can claim anything. Whether it's true or not is the big question. And so what do you do with Jesus' claim? And the way I want to ask this question, the second question I want to ask about this whole thing is, could his claim be true? Not is it true, but could it be true? Because I think one of the things that people react to is they just don't believe there could be one way. But think about this for a second. Life is a certain way. You ever notice that? Life just is a certain way. I'm convinced that much of what it means to mature and grow up is to figure out how life is set up and adjust your life to it in order to be successful. For instance, okay, I gotta say something about my eating habits. All right, for my whole life, I have no class, I have no style. I love like gas station food. I love to go in and see the glass, and behind the glass is where there is fried food, there's fried chicken, there's fried potatoes, there's fried everything. I love that kind of stuff. And I've eaten more than my fair share of that stuff my entire life. But there's a reality I have to confront. My doctor, I've gone to several times, has looked at my blood and said, your blood is in really, really bad shape. And it's probably because of all that. And if I don't change my ways, if I don't adjust myself to reality, no matter how it makes me feel, I could drive myself to an early grave. Finally, I'm like, okay, no more of that kind of thing. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm adjusting myself to a reality. But I'm adjusting myself to a reality I don't like. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me happy. I miss good old-fashioned terrible food. But on the other hand, I have to face what reality is saying. And that's the way it is with beliefs. You see, what beliefs are, they're really not feelings. What beliefs are, and we all have them, there are interpretations of the unseen world. And think about this for a second. If one belief is correct, it necessarily means that its opposite is incorrect. For instance, there's a guy named Alex Rosenberg. He's a philosopher at Duke University, and he would label himself a naturalist. And what a naturalist is a naturalist believe that nature is all there is, that natural things are all that exist. That means there is no God, there is no spiritual, there is no afterlife. There's nothing that's spiritual. It's all natural. Well, if Alex Rosenberg is correct, then all religions, whether it's Islam or Judaism or Christianity or Hinduism or Buddhism, all those religions that believe in the spiritual are therefore incorrect. And it works the opposite way too. If Christianity is correct, well, Alex Rosenberg is certainly incorrect. Now, the third question then is obvious. Why should I believe that Christianity is true? Why should I believe it's true? Now, we need to remember that the most important question in life, and we struggle with this in America, we all do, is not, does something make me feel good or does something make me happy? Really, the most important question is, what is true? Because there is a reality out there, unseen, that we need to know who's telling the truth. How do we find that out? Well, and I would recommend you do that with any religion, is just look at what they're saying, or any non-religion, and say, what's true, what's not? Why do I believe it? Why do I not? Now, when it comes to Christianity, we're going to deal with, hopefully, a number of videos in the future to describe why I believe it's true. But let me give you 4 quick overviews. The first one's this. It's Jesus, who he is, what he said, what he did. I think he was obviously the greatest person who ever walked the face of the planet. The second is there were all kinds of pointers to him and prophecies about him in the history leading up to him. That is remarkable. Third is there's a ton of evidence to say he rose again from the dead. And someone who rises again from the dead, I'm going to listen to what they have to say. And then finally, what I have found is that the Christian view of the world better explains life as I experience it than any other belief system I know anything about. And I would encourage you to investigate that. So is Jesus the only way? Well, he did claim to be that. I personally believe he is, but I also know that that's a beautiful thing, that all we have to do is come to him and he's freely available to anyone who will hear. Hope that helps. See you next time.